Right on time, it's 10:10. Right on time, it's 10:10. So we'll say good morning to everybody and good morning to you officially, Tania.
Good morning, Adiva. Nice to see your smiling face.
Beforehand, and I'm sorry I interrupted you. What were you saying?
No, I said it's always nice to see your happy face, your smiling face.
Thank you, and it's the same with you also. I think that we both are definitely in a place where we are glowing, like we really connect with what we're wanting to share. That I can see it in your face, and it's really great to be able to like they say, hang around people that you want to your life to be like. So I'm blessed to have you, and being able to do this with you it's huge for me. So thank you.
Well, thank you to you too.
So we'll jump right in and talk about telomeres. I wonder how many people have never heard of telomeres. It's becoming a big topic actually out there. There's a lot of information on it. So if you're watching live or the replay, we would like to hear from you, because our goal is and vision is to really connect with you out there and hear your voice and what you're looking for. We're also, we're open to possibly having guests on and having you share. The cool thing is with Tania and I, we are from different generations. And I think that also has a pretty cool twist to things.
Yeah, our different ideas, our points of view. It's always awesome to kind of share.
It is. It makes it, and it helps me a lot to. It just opens your mind. I think when you get with people that you're on the same big picture, but from different perspective. It's like looking at a painting from different views, and then really appreciating the beauty of that piece of art. So I'll jump right in now and talk about telomeres. The one of the things that really I wanted to start off with was, like how some people, they'll be like 60 years old, but they look and feel like they're only 40, and you look at them as like, wow, you're 60. And then the same with the other way around. There'll be some people that are like only like in their 40s, and you're like, man, they seem like they're like 60 or older. And all that has to do with the biological indicator, which has to do with our telomeres, and that's how the telomeres get in. And we're going to talk about how they get impacted and how that changes our telomeres. So we're going to get a little bit more into that. But I know many of us have said that. It's like, wow, I can't believe she's only 40, or I can't believe she's 80 years old. So the telomeres actually protect our genetic heritage. So the telomeres are basically, in layman's term, in my own terms, tabs on our chromosomes that help protect the ends of our chromosomes. So it's a section of our DNA, and there's a lot of detail. If you're into science and you want to read about it, I love reading about it. I'm not a scientist, but it's very interesting, all the studies that they've done. And then one of the things that they found, we're going to talk about Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn and her book here. But back in the early 2000s, they did a psychologist and Dr. Blackburn worked together, and they studied mothers that took care of children with chronic diseases, and then also spouses that had to take care of their spouse who had dementia. And then the other one is just early people that suffered with early trauma in their lives. And it was very clear that the more chronic stress, and that's like stress day after day after day, it's constant, that people that suffered from that, they had shorter telomeres. So I thought that was really, I hadn't read about that study before, but that it made sense. And like we were talking about stress before we got on live, how our life today in our society is like stress becomes normal. I'd be working and I have two computer screens going and people ask me things on the phone and all that. And that's expected, like that's normal. And we've got to take that step back. So to think about all that stress, that constant stress really shortens our telomeres, which actually will also premature our aging. So our cells are aging faster that way.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing was that it's simple, like you said, but you have to stick with it. It's really changing our daily habits and putting in good habits. And the habits will impact our telomeres, which will impact our health span. And we're going to hear from Dr. Blackburn, a short video from her about the health span. And the difference between the health span and the lifespan. So the lifespan is how many years you're alive. And then the health span is how many years you have your health, where you are healthy, you're active, you're free from disease. So the goal is to keep up with that health span with your lifespan, not just live longer, but live longer, healthier and younger. And then there is the chemicals in our bodies. So when you think about stress, it creates chemicals in our bodies. So the chronic stress and negative thoughts, including negative relationships, also come into play, because then again, that's creating that prolonged or that chronic stress. And to create good habits, we look into, and Dr. Blackburn points that out, is that you want quality sleep, exercise, and then all aspects of our diet. And we covered that a little bit last week. Interesting how, everything comes together, and it's our lifestyle is, with our diet includes, and like you said, Tania, I remember last week you were saying, don't like necessarily to use the word diet as it's being used traditionally now in our society as a bad thing, but talking about like what we consume, what we put in our mouth to feed ourselves. Tania, I know that you're going to be covering some of the nutrition and all that, and exercising, and we've covered, meditation and all that before. But that's basically, so think of the telomeres as the end caps of your chromosomes, kind of like the end caps on your shoelaces to keep from fraying. And that was a really good visual for me. Do you have anything to add to that? And then we'll, while you do that, I'll go ahead and prep us up for the video to watch it, if you have anything that you'd like to add.
You know what? I think that there's been so many studies done on aging and, our lifestyle choices and what we eat, what we don't eat, and what affects our aging process. I love that we're talking about this today, because these are some of the things that, a lot of people don't really know about. And I didn't even know about telomeres until probably about maybe even, 2 or 3 years ago, and just becoming more involved about learning, a little bit more about slowing down aging and Shaklee, and just what I can do to kind of help the process, facilitate the process, and educate people. And I guess the good news is that we can actually do something for this by keeping our telomeres long and healthy. So it's going to explain it more in the video, and then we'll dive into it a little bit deeper after the video. So,
all right.
Telomeres are the ends of chromosomes, and chromosomes are the little tiny things in every cell in our body which carries the genetic information, and they're made of long DNA molecules. And every end of the DNA has to have a little protective cap on it, and that's what the telomere is. And it really does protect the chromosome, and therefore it protects the genetic material. If you don't have a proper protective cap, because the cap can wear down throughout life, and then suddenly it stops working, then the cells don't work properly and start sending the wrong signals to each other and to other cells around the body. And that's the thing that really matters for a lot of people, is what's their health going to be like. And there's a great name, it's called health span, which pretty much is the term that says, your health span is the time in your life that you stay pretty healthy and you don't have a real frailty or a disease or some real disability that, really affects your life. So we all want our health span to be as close as possible to our lifespan. So we're down to the basics: exercise, good nutrition, trying to do stress reduction, recognizing we can't avoid all chronic severe stress. It's very exciting when you find people of like mind who have similar kinds of goals and ambitions, and when the two mesh, it's wonderful, because different strengths are brought to the problem. We bring our strengths as our research expertise and knowing a lot about, over the years, how telomeres work, and more through a lot of interactions with studies, how that's impacting on human health and wellness. And Shaklee has a goal of human health and well-being, and so that is a very resonant kind of role that Shaklee is playing as well. And so having that ability there so we can respond and make it happen right away, that's something that the Shaklee support is going to make possible. And that's huge for us. When you bring two very different kinds of strengths together, good things happen. And so I'm very excited that this is going to be something where, we really will make some true advances.
Okay, I think it went smoothly.
Yes, good job, Adiba. That was a great transition. So, Adiba and I always talk about this, and we love to really catch up on information, do some research, and Dr. Blackburn is really one of the leaders in this area of telomeres and studying telomeres. So, as she explained in the video, according to her, during our lives, the telomeres tend to wear down. And when telomeres can't protect our chromosomes properly, then the cells can't replenish, and then that's when they malfunction. So to put it in like simpler terms, or to just talk a little bit more about how this happens and what type of like changes we can see in the body which increase the risks of major diseases, for example, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancer, and a weakened immune system. There's a lot more, but we're definitely all familiar with a weakened immune system with everything that we've gone through over the past few years. Excuse me. So, as we mentioned, that there is something that we can do to help slow down these changes. And the important thing is learning about telomeres and how to really slow, prevent, and maybe even possibly reverse the shortening. So just to give a little scientifical information, telomerase replenishes the DNA at telomeres. So depending on cell type, telomerase partially or completely counteracts the progressive shortening of telomeres that otherwise occurs. Yes, I did read that, so I wouldn't get stuck on my words. And I wanted to, say it make sure it came out the way that I wanted to explain. So what I'm going to talk a little bit about is how do we take care of our telomeres really to delay or reverse aging. And both Dr. Blackburn and Adiba have touched on that a little bit already. And I'm just going to talk a little bit more about them as well. So in order to lengthen our telomeres and really improve our lifestyle, one of the most important things, and we're going to say it over and over again, is just managing chronic stress.
Yeah.
And I stress the word chronic because we all have stress in our lives. Our lives are super busy, as Adiba mentioned, and it's not necessarily, the seasons that you go through or the moments of stress that you might have, the short term, but it's really just dealing with it on a long-term basis and making sure that you can manage your stress. And I mean, there's been so much research also how much meditation, yoga, mindfulness are really some great techniques that people can use to reduce stress and increase your well-being. And they're also becoming so much more well-documented and researched and just having a huge part in lengthening telomeres as well. So that's that's really, you know, we talk about that a lot with yoga and meditation and mindfulness. So just finding what works for you and managing that.
Throw in prayer also.
Yes.
That's huge, because it's, you know, and it does. I just wanted to throw that in there too, because you know, a lot of people think of, when they think meditation and mindfulness, they don't correlate that with necessarily prayer, but being grateful and being mindful definitely kind of combines prayer as well. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
No, and I appreciate that. And also, you know, talking a little bit about prayer does not have to be religion based.
Right.
You know, it just, whatever type of prayer or, you know, meditation or whatever works for you. Prayer can be whatever's good for your soul, I guess is what I'm going to say. Because you know how, like I said, you know what works for you.
Right. Yeah. And it is really about finding what works for you. I think it's really pretty cool and awesome and fascinating and interesting that, you know, when you look at prayers within religions, is based to that being very mindful and very grateful, and that is all linked to being healthy spiritually, and then it gets into the relief of stress. So anyway, I just wanted to
know. And actually, I love that. I'm just going to say really quickly that, you know, in this past year, you know, I grew up Catholic, and I've also learned so much about the intentional prayers and the motions and the movements, even just involved in Mass, and the standing up and the sitting down and the kneeling and the mindfulness and the prayer and the meditation. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, everything had meaning, and I never realized that before.
It's pretty cool.
That's just an example. You know, there's so many different religions. That's just an example of my upbringing, and how once you really start paying attention to, you know, the world around you and how it's incorporated, and from years and years ago, dating back in history of, you know, maybe they called it something a little bit different.
Right.
But it's been around for a long time.
Because I was, you know, I'm fasting for Ramadan. I'm doing my prayers times a day, and I was talking with Darren about just what you were saying. You know, the standing up and the kneeling and the healing and whatever. It's all the movement. Yeah. And we were talking about the same exact thing. And like you said, that was like, you know, ages ago. But it all ties in. So that's pretty cool that you thought about it too.
Oh yeah, I definitely have learned so much about that this past year that have really, it's really put it into a different perspective for me. Yeah. So anyway, that can be a totally different 1010 talk.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm going to move on to, you know, exercise. Exercise, everybody knows the benefits. There's been so much research on it. I definitely want to put it out there that mixing things up is good. And even when you think of exercise, just think about it in regards to movement, just getting up and doing something, you know, whether it be, you know, training for a marathon or 20 minutes, 3 days a week, you know, anything, doing anything is great. And every little bit helps to lengthen your telomeres. And there's a lot of different studies that shows how much different kinds of exercise help people. So, you know, as we always say, tailor it to yourself, tailor it to your experience. What works for one may not work for the other. And just find what works for you. And then eating better. You know, we talked a little bit about nutrition, but the most important thing to keep in mind in regards to telomeres is having adequate omega-3 fatty acids. That really, there's been research on that as well. And it really seems to relate to better telomere maintenance. And the easiest way to ensure is like maybe a supplement if you don't get enough of it in your diet. It's also like in the foods we eat, you know, fish oil, flax seeds, fish. There's so many different ways to get that omega-3 in, and just, you know, thinking about that as a supplementation if you don't already take it are your omega-3s, and not only for adults, but for children as well.
Yeah.
So beneficial. And then sleep. Sleep is probably more closely tied to overall health than most people realize, I think. And that, you know, we all feel bad when we don't get enough sleep, and that tired feeling is just the tip of the, kind of just like the tip of the iceberg, because then it translates into the rest of the day or the rest of your week.
Yeah.
But also stressing that sleep is different for everybody. You know, some people need 8 hours, some people need 4 hours. You know, the recommendation, of course, is 6 to 8 hours a night, but you know, or I encourage you to just start tracking that. If you're not sure, if you don't know, just start tracking how much sleep you need in order to be able to function effectively and throughout the day. And just like those days that you wake up and you feel really good, like write it down and think about, like, okay, what time did I go to bed? How much did I sleep? And just tracking that on a regular basis. I'm going to give you a fact over here. According to the National Sleep Foundation, 48% of Americans have occasional sleeplessness. 22% experience it most nights. And occasional sleeplessness, excuse me, isn't usually harmful, but the chronic lack of good quality sleep is highly likely to have a negative impact in your health. So that's just kind of sums up what I just said, is that, you know, many of us know this already, but the importance of understanding it and how it helps to maintain your telomeres as well, and how it falls into all different areas of lifestyle.
Yeah, because that's part of, I think, I know people in our system. Oh, you're right.
Yes, I'm sorry. Allergies.
I know.
This morning I've been like
allergies and
itchy eyes, sneezing like crazy. So I apologize.
Oh, the way in our culture now, in our society here, is that it's okay, like it's expected not to sleep well, you know, with all these different crazy shifts at work and people working 10 hours and 12 hours and nights and days, and all that has an impact on us. And to be aware of that, because like from my perspective, it seems like, oh, this is great, you know, it's best for the business and you got to work all these hours, we can get more out of you. And then we fall into that trap. I was like, yeah, this is what needs to be done. But now we're seeing the impact of all that, because again, it's stress on our body, or, you know, getting a couple of hours of sleep here and there. If you need 10 cups of coffee to keep going, you know, you're not getting enough sleep.
Yes, actually.
But
I agree with you, you know, wholeheartedly. And like I said, it's such a, it's so personalized, because, you know, moving here 3.5 years ago and starting my own business, you know, never did I think that I would do that. I always thought I would be someone to, you know, just have a job or do something. And I've really come to realize, just in relation to sleep, how much that works for me and my sleep patterns and my schedule. I am not a Monday through Friday 9 to 5 type of person, and coming to terms with the fact that, like, that's okay. I'm okay with that. And you know, I always talk about I'm a night person. I'm probably most productive in the evening, or, you know, I like to, that's my cozy time. That's my like warm and yummy, comfy time to just enjoy, relax, either do stuff and then, you know, catch up on my favorite show or read a book. And just understanding that, you know, that is what works for me. It doesn't work for everybody, but also being blessed with the fact that I can, you know, make my own schedule. I can adjust to my own sleep pattern. I know what works for me and what doesn't. You know, not everybody has that ability to, but that also ties into stress and chronic stress, and just figuring out what is best for you health-wise in the long run.
Yeah.
So then moving into the next, telomeres and supplementation, because there's a lot of things that you can do to help supplement to lengthen your telomeres. And there's actually a study that was conducted by Shaklee that was designed to like explore the long-term supplementation effects on telomere health. And if you're interested in that, Adiba and I can share that after the podcast, or just reach out to one of us. We can send it to you just to learn a little bit more information. It's actually called the Landmark Dietary Supplement Study, and it was in collaboration with the University of California at Berkeley. And it's one of the largest studies of long-term users of multiple supplements. So once again, I just want to explain to you that this is more along the lines of what you can do and what this study shows, how supplements have had much better biomarkers on brain health and cognitive health, and what you can take or what you can use to help facilitate that and help slow down the aging process. So there's one of the most important supplements is using a blend of polyphenols, which is powerful. It's an all-natural blend, a broad spectrum of polyphenols. And the key ingredients in it are really shown to protect and repair cellular DNA and combat free radicals. Everybody talks about free radicals. They even do facials nowadays to help combat that, and to really so many different things that are coming out now, and so much research. So it also helps to activate cellular defenses and neutralize those free radicals and slow the development of slowing the development of aging, excuse me, or things that damage aging. I guess that's what I was trying to say, and talk a little bit about what accumulates and can lead to cellular aging. And then also, vitamins and proteins, minerals, omega-3, like we mentioned, the polyphenols, antioxidants, and phytonutrients all help to create a really good foundation for a longer, healthier life. So when we think about supplements and, adding things, whether it be one at a time, whether it be through your food or actual like supplements that you can take, really focusing on nutrients that support like cellular health, healthy vision, healthy heart, healthy brain, joint comfort if you have any, inflammation, immune support, which has been so important the past few years for our population as a whole, and then energy, some of those, that's important to a lot of people nowadays, but not necessarily just caffeine, but using products that have good, healthy sources of energy, of creating that energy. Strong bones, and then healthy skin, hair, and nails. I've posted and I talked about how I've started taking collagen, and oh my goodness, all of a sudden, even my hairdresser was like, what happened to your hair? It's so long and it's so healthy all of a sudden. So that's another great example, and just making sure that you have the right and the good quality products. Whether it be something that you're already taking or something that you need advice on, you can always reach out to Adiba and I for any questions or information, or type it in the chat, whatever feels right for you.
Yeah, it made me think of the myology assessment, the health assessment. It's such a powerful tool to just really kind of give you a direction, and to look at, what can benefit you the most. Because now with taking that assessment, we can add our DNA results in there, our blood results in there, and get a very comprehensive, personalized regimen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such an incredible tool that we have, that we can offer to our clients and friends and family. Because, and like you were saying about your hair, it made me think how sometimes
hair, you like how long it is.
Like with mine, I've had that.
Yours too. It's even.
And I didn't make the connection, and I was thinking about that when you were saying that, is that sometimes we don't realize the difference that our lifestyle habits, the sleep and the exercise and the eating better and the supplementation, what they are doing, because it's a kind of a slow transition. Like we don't see it ourselves. People that haven't seen you sometimes just in a month or so, they're like, whoa, what did you do? So that all that to say is that, taking supplements and taking care of yourself, it's not like, you have a pain in your back and you get, I don't know, like a shot or something, and it's instantly gone. With supplementation and with lifestyle and all that, it's just a process. And maybe like you were saying, Tania, about, document your sleep. Like you wake up one day and you're like, oh, this feels really good. Is to just really think about what you did the day before, what time you went to bed, how you slept, documenting the lifestyle that you're doing, and then what you're eating and what you're exercising. It's really interesting to go back and see. It's like, oh, wow, it is making a difference. I used to be, I don't know, tired all the time, or, sick. Every year, this time of year, I get really sick, or, I have headaches, or whatever it is, you'll start seeing the changes, because the changes that I mean, when I look back when I was in my early 20s, it's crazy what I put up with.
Oh, we all
Like, oh my gosh. And
I used to be like, yeah, I slept for 2 hours, came home, went back to work the next day. Like,
yeah, and how bad I felt, and like how, because I was in the Air Force, and I would literally, like, that was so normal. I would go in and they would try this medication. I'm like, okay, this doctor gave me the medication, and on top of that, it was free, like, here, take this. And looking back, so that's like 40 years ago, and thank God how much more incredible I'm feeling now than I did in my 20s. It's mind-blowing. It's almost like unreal. And I can see how, when I share with people how much better I feel as I'm 61 than I did when I was 21, it seems almost unreal, because even to me, it's like, I can't believe that's how I was living life normal back then. It was like the headaches, the upset stomachs, it's mainly, I used to get just horrible migraines. So it makes sense. If I can't believe it myself, to be able to share that with others, it seems kind of almost unreal. But until you feel great, you don't realize how bad you're feeling. It becomes kind of normal. Ever since I was a little girl, I always had, constant, my sinuses, just running all the time. And so just looking back, I'm just grateful. I'm just so grateful that my mom was stubborn enough to tell me about Shaklee again, because I didn't listen the first time.
I know. And you know what you mentioned about, the Air Force, and, Adiba, you and I both have ties to the military, veterans, and my husband is still in the military. And, thinking about all of this, which actually we could probably do as a podcast one day, if people are interested, just thinking about all of this and all of the changes that the military as a whole, what they're doing to improve the health and wellness of their soldiers. There's a whole H2F initiative, a new FM 7-22. They've changed their regulations. If the military can do it, you can do it, I guess is what I'm trying to get to, is that they're really, they're starting to realize all the research backed by this, and how important it is for, soldiers to not only have the training, but also the mind health, the brain health, the focus on the emotional wellness, as well as like the spiritual, the physical, tying in all these components.
It is really exciting to hear that.
It is so exciting. I can't wait as this rolls out even more and more.
And it's and you're there to help, and we're here to help, just share our experiences and have an impact on people's lives.
Yes, we are.
So we can, what else? How would you like to wrap it up with the telomeres? And then with Dr. Blackburn's accent is so cute. I love it.
Oh no, you're gonna talk about the accent.
She's from I can't remember now where she's from, but I always thought that it was such a cool accent because, like, it makes me like listen even closer. Because you know how some people like you just have that same sound, but when she talks, I'm like, I just like pay attention.
So I've said this to you before. When I listen to her, I always listen with like a happy, like healthy dose of laughter, I guess I want to say, because what is the name of that movie where Robin Williams dresses up as the older woman and is like a nanny, pretends to interviews her, and it's like a nanny for his children.
And he remember his accent, yeah.
And anyway.
It's
I love her and love Dr. Blackburn, but every time I listen to anything, I can't help but smile, and it feels good because it makes me want to laugh. And I remember that movie and his accent and the way that he spoke. And anyway, yes.
Laughter is part of being healthy. I mean, it really helps with there is laughing yoga. Have you done that? Have you done the laughing yoga?
So I haven't done a class per se, but yes, I have practiced it and
so
practiced it with some fellow friends and colleagues. Yeah.
We've done that at Amazon where I'm working right now. And speaking of Amazon, one of the biggest things, because I started working there when I shut down the wellness center because of COVID and all this that we were going on a couple of years ago. So anyway, I ended up with Amazon. And one of the big reasons I'm hanging in there is that my boss is really big on health and wellness because I'm part of the safety and wellness team.
Mm-hmm.
So you were talking about the military. It made me think about how Amazon is also working on that. They have a big push for keeping, the associates and the employees healthy and happy. And it gets into the mental health and emotional health and family health, not just while they're working. So it is one of the big things that's keeping me there is getting to a point where I can do more of that. So anyway, we've done the laughing yoga there. Mm-hmm. I've done it with just the managers meeting, went in for a couple of minutes and did the laughing yoga. That was really pretty cool.
It's fun. It can be awkward at first, but once you get into it and kind of let yourself go and just feel it, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've seen people like, no way, this is, it's like, I'm not going to do this. And then they can't help but laugh because everybody else is laughing. And you're like, what is
contagious? Yeah.
And when you laugh, you create this chemical inside, just like when we're stressed, our bodies are just so incredibly created that, just know when you're laughing, you're creating good chemicals in your body. So.
Mm-hmm. And you're strengthening that mind-body connection.
Yeah.
The way it feels. And just, once you start becoming in tune with that and paying attention to it, it's just magical.
It is.
Right?
You sleep better. I've noticed my sleep change with my eating habits and my just stress relievers. I would like to end, and if I don't know if you have any information in front of you about Vivix, and that's you were talking about the polyphenols and the blend in Shaklee's supplement. Vivix has that polyphenol blend in it, which is just one of those amazing products that is uniquely Shaklee's. It's just incredible. But I don't know if you had pulled any information about Vivix by any chance.
Yeah, I have some quick information actually. So Vivix is one of our Shaklee products, one of our Shaklee supplements that has been effective in a 40% lower rate of telomere shortening. So it contains an all-natural blend of that broad spectrum of polyphenols that I was talking about earlier, and it's backed by six patents. So this is a Shaklee product that is unique to Shaklee and has been widely used by many people. It also has the key ingredients shown in laboratory studies to really protect and repair that cellular DNA that I was talking about, and to combat the free radicals. They've also been shown in studies to activate Vivix has also been shown in studies to activate cellular defenses and slowing the development of aging with proteins that accumulate and lead in cellular aging. So that's very, you know, like I said before, the product is very specific to Shaklee. They've done a ton of research, a lot of clinical studies, you know, backed by 6 different patents. So if that's something that you're interested in, you know, in users that took Shaklee and other users who took Vivix as well as other supplements for at least 5 years had a 40% lower rate of telomere shortening across the adult range compared to a healthy control group. So that's an interesting fact. And just to reiterate also, none of this is, you know, be patient. None of this is slow. It's a process that, you know, as aging takes place, it's something that, you know, should be started sooner than later, but also understand that it's not one of those quick fixes. You're not going to see it, you know, right away. It's something that you need to adopt into your lifestyle, you know, slowly make changes, and whether it be one thing or you start off with like, boom, everything all at once. You know, the importance is just paying attention to what makes you feel good, what's important to you right now, and slowly, you know, gather the information. And you can reach out to us if you have any questions about the Vivix.
Yeah, and there was another
supplements.
I don't know the details of it. I should have pulled that up, but you heard about how they took a group of people and fed them like this greasy fast food meal.
Mm-hmm.
Give them the Vivix right afterward, and how because the body reacts to those bad things. I don't know how to say it like technically, but the Vivix right after this greasy fatty meal stopped that reaction in the body and which I've got to pull it up and see if maybe attach it to the post here. But that was really interesting, because it was like you were talking about instant results, but even that was so instant. When they took the Vivix right after that meal, it had an impact on how the body reacted to that greasy meal.
No, I actually have not seen that one. I haven't seen that study yet. Definitely will have to share it.
Up and share that. Actually, Roger Burnett was talking about that on that last video. I'm pretty sure. I just heard it recently.
Okay.
But yeah, it's. And then the other thing, like you were saying, you know, it's not instant result. Think about, you know, brushing your teeth. I always think about that. You know, you brush your teeth every day. It's not like, oh, I brushed my teeth. What happened? You know, like it's the process. It's you continue to do it because of what it prevents, and also it clean. Like it does have instant impact, but it's the long term, is the consistent, the good habits that we're looking for to make a big difference. And a little bit about Shaklee real quick. Started back in '56 by Dr. Shaklee, who was a chiropractor, and he created the first consumable vitamin back in 1915. I've been using the products pretty consistently now over 30 years. And my mom tried to get me started on it back in the 70s, and I didn't listen, but that's okay. Now I can relate to people that don't want to listen either.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can all relate to that. And also about repetition.
So it just makes
consistency.
You know, you appreciate things in life more as you just add up the numbers on your of your years. So, but I just love this time with you, Tania. I'm excited that, you know, our voice will be heard by I believe the right person will hear our message, and we're going to have just a huge impact. And on my end is just really having a world full of healthy, happy humans.
I agree with you, Adiba. And On that note, I just want to add, Adiba and I will be at an event tomorrow at Hemisphere Park. It is for Month of the Military Child, but it's open to anybody who wants to come and attend. You know, we'll be talking a little bit more about health and wellness and do some fun activities for kids. But if you're around and you have a chance and you want to join us in the San Antonio area, or if you want to just chat with us in person about some of this stuff or some of this information that we've talked about on podcasts, just reach out to us, and I'll also be sharing it on Facebook, so you can look for that.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. Maybe we can go live for a couple of minutes there too.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Well, here, as always, thanks to everyone that watched and watching the replay, and we'll get this out on the podcast and on YouTube so we can share it. And thanks, Tania, for being here. And I'm very grateful that we're doing this together. It's really awesome. So we'll say bye, and then I'll turn off the recording.
Bye, everyone.
Everyone.
Have a great weekend, Easter weekend.
Oh, yes. Happy Easter, and take care of you. Go out there, because remember, you are the example people are watching. Take care of you, and then you can take care of others. And let me figure out how to end this.